And I'm here with Linda Gorman, one of the initial Republic of Ireland internationals, a former manager of the Irish team. She was on the Jays tour to France in 1972, and she also coached the boys in Home Farm. Linda, can I first ask you about the Jays tour 50 years ago, a real pioneering moment for women's football?
Well, when I reflect on the time, it absolutely was a pioneering moment in terms of the manager that we had, which was Pat Noon, who went on to be the the honorary secretary of the first Ladies Football Association of Ireland. The tour to us as players was just like a regular game. We never realised that when we got over there how massive women's football was over there, and particularly Stade Reims, and we played them in 4 different locations. And I did a little calculation of, we were there for 7 days in total, from our home to there and back home, and we played 4 games in 5 or 6 days, and we travelled in excess of 2,000 kilometres.
And then a year later, the first ever women's international, we played Wales in Llanelli, and you were part of that tour as well.
I was very lucky to be one of the team from the Jays original tour, one of 5 I think, that got the opportunity to go to Wales, and we played in Wales. And my recollection of it was that great boat trip over, a bit tiring. We all stayed with families. We didn't stay in a hotel because we actually all funded our own trips. We all paid for all our own expenses. It was a tremendous win over there. Paula Gorman scored all the goals, and rightly so. But we had a great bunch of girls, and it was a great start to Women's International in Ireland.
And you had a 12-year career as a player. I know it's very, very different times for women's football, but can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, it was tough in the beginning because it wasn't really recognised, and it wasn't recognised by the FA in as much as the men's football was, and it wasn't as popular in terms of vying for attention, because you had the GAA on one side who were looking for stuff, and we also had players who played in the GAA. The matches were fabulous, got great opportunities to see what other teams, the standard of other teams like Denmark and Holland and England in particular. England were really, really ahead of us. So to see from where we were going as a team to now seeing that across the water, the Euros are being held by England, and all our women all our young players have an opportunity to make a career, whereas back in our day we had a job, and to play football was a sort of a bonus. But if you look back on our trip to our tour of France, and particularly Stade Reims and around the French state, we must have been exceptionally fit to be able to play 4 games in 5 or 6 days. And that would probably be because at that time we were doing a lot of street football, and a lot of, there was no way of getting anywhere unless we walked ourselves.
And can I take you back as manager? 1991, you have a record, the only manager of a Republic of Ireland side to ever beat Spain away from home in a competitive game. And I think it was your first game as manager. Can you talk? And you gave a debut to the wonderful Olivia O'Toole. Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah, it was a great opportunity, and I go back to the tour of the Jays tour because I saw what the standard was of women's football, and that was a benchmark for me. So everything had to be above that. I got the opportunity for a year to manage the women's international team, and unfortunately, or fortunately in our case, it was against Spain. We didn't really have a hope, but we had a fantastic bunch of girls, and I knew what was needed to beat the French side. I knew what quality of players that I needed, the Spanish side. I knew what quality players I needed to play in Europe, to play in the Euros. And the likes of Olivia O'Toole is one of those players, technically brilliant. And even we were televised on Spanish television, the match was, and they picked out Olivia O'Toole because she was exceptional. Didn't pan out too much after that. For me, I got a bit disillusioned with our association. Lucky enough that I'd been doing coaching badges and got to know a lot of people, and then that's how I got involved with Home Farm and schoolboy football.
And then you coached the boys' teams there in Home Farm. How was that?
It was amazing. In actual fact, how it started was Liam Toohey and Home Farm are looking to set up a women's side, and because I knew Liam through Coaches Association, he asked me would I be willing to set up a side. I did. We won back-to-back leagues for 2 years. And then because we play in the summer and the guys play in the winter, and I had a bit of time, I asked Liam could I help out with any of the boys teams. And as it transpired, the under-18s Premier side had lost their manager at Christmas. So we were, myself and a guy called Joe Swain, brilliant man, brilliant football mind. We came in just to see the team through to the end of the season because the club didn't want the team to break up. Well, we won the league and we won the All-Ireland down in Limerick, which was brilliant. And then other opportunities arose for me because Ajax came to Dublin to play against the under-18s in Home Farm, and I was part of the coaching crew, played against them. We lost. Naturally, we lost to a brilliant side and we were just a club side. And then I went on to manage the under-15 schoolboys in Home Farm. I think I'm the only girl that's ever won a treble with the schoolboys, so we won the League Cup and the All-Ireland. One of my players, John Thompson, played for Brian Kerr's youth side and they won under-16s European medal. And then the following year I won with the under-16s the League and the League Cup. And that's sort of how I got involved. But I have to add, during that time I was involved also a different age group with Sheriff schoolboy side, their only Premiership side, and won the under-18s league with them, Premiership league with them. And ironically, I think 8 or 9 of them went on to play for the very famous Sheriff United, who went on to win 8 titles in their first year.
That's brilliant, Linda. Can I also ask you now, just the way women's football has changed so much, I think it's fantastic the FAI have invited to this massive game against Finland. But if you look at it now with sponsors, major brands like Cadbury's and Sky on board, the FAI have massive ticket issues. Everyone is looking to go to the Finland game. How does it look like to you?
Well, the very easy solution for, increased ticket sales is to get a bigger venue, and there's lots of bigger venues around, and I'm tired of people saying to me, can you get me a ticket, can you get me a ticket? The change is unbelievable. The major change for me is now young people in Ireland, young girls can have a career in playing football, which was unheard of in my time and up until recently. The way the FAI have now approached the women's game is very professional. Vera Powell, exceptional, done wonders with the team, definitely knows her stuff without a shadow of a doubt, picks great players and they're playing great football. Now I myself played into my 50s, competitively into my 50s. I'm now 68, 69 soon, and I play walking football with men, and they cannot believe that me at my age could have played the way I can play, and can't imagine what it must have been like back then. And then when I say to him, look, we were losing games because our standard wasn't high. Can you imagine what the standard of women's football was across Europe? I had a great opportunity with Belvedere. I played for Belvedere, the schoolboys side, and we went to America in, I think it was 85, 86, 96, 95, I can't remember anyway. But the crux of it was that when we went over there to play, we hammered every team in sight within a very short period, with input of resources, with the way they could push the game. They are now multiple-time world champions, so it can be done if the resources are there. I did hear Vera Powell as she was an analyst on one of the European games. I don't know if anybody else heard it, but she mentioned that they need more resources. Well, my thing is, wherever they need, give it to them, because they're playing great stuff.
That's great. Thanks, Linda.